dripping off words that you say when the boat slows down. There's a break, color in the turn of a phrase, curving a moment in space to spend something around into
Hi everyone. In retirement, we're told to get rid of things. Declutter, downsize, let it go. But no one is telling us the things that we should keep. And so I was giving this a lot of thought and thought it would make a great video and something to talk about. Hi, my name is Raina and this is Small Retired Life. On my channel, we talk about all things retirement, living in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. If you're new, welcome here. So let's talk about decluttering for a little bit. The reason this came to the forefront for me is that for the last couple of weeks, I have been decluttering everything, my whole house. Every year, our condo board organizes a bin that all of the residents of my condominium complex can throw away their old stuff, the stuff they're not using. Because I love decluttering, this is like the highlight of my year, and you can laugh at me, but I love when the bin comes and I just go through my entire home and I look at everything with an eagle eye and kind of decide, do I get rid of it? Do I keep it? Does this go in the bin? It's also a time where I look at the items that perhaps could be donated and used by others. And so I take this critical eye across my home and I start decluttering voraciously during this time of year. And it makes me feel good. I'm one of those people who loves getting rid of things, who loves downsizing my stuff. I don't like to have excess things around the house. But I was thinking about the fact that there are things that I pick up and I look at them and I know I will never let them go. I will never declutter these things. Someone else will have to do this after I pass. And I was thinking about why are certain things so important to me and why do certain things make the cut? In other words, why do certain things not get decluttered out of my life and out of my home when so many other things are? Sometimes I think that decluttering becomes this cycle. So in other words, we declutter, then we fill our space up again, then we declutter, and so on and so forth, and it keeps going in this big circle. We declutter things, but then we acquire new things and refill our spaces and things accumulate. So we're continually doing this. The problem with decluttering is that sometimes we declutter so much that we declutter a part of our identity. And minimalism can also become a very sterile situation. There can be a home that is so sterile that it brings no joy, there's no personality. And for those of us who are retired and spend so much time in our homes, the ability to be able to keep ourselves occupied, to be happy and feel happy in our home sometimes is reflected in the things that we have around us. It's almost as if in retirement, when we slow down and we should actually be getting rid of things, our things start to matter more to us than before, when we were running around working, not spending a lot of time in our homes. And now that we're spending time in our homes, the things that we have become more meaningful and oftentimes harder to get rid of. So I think the easiest way for me to talk about this topic is to actually go through some of my most favorite things, the things that whenever I've done a huge declutter, I look at them and I'm like, no, this item is staying, this is a keeper, and maybe talk about my thought process on this and why some of these things are so meaningful to me. And it might be a way for you to look at all of your own stuff and all of your own things and think about what truly is meaningful and what isn't, what you can get rid of, what you can give away, because it doesn't hold that mental value or that useful factor value of many of the items that, in my case, probably I would never declutter. One of the hardest things for people to declutter, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the hardest things, are objects that hold memories. Now, this could be things like old photographs, or it could be things that you inherited from relatives or from your parents. Some of those things are really worthwhile keeping because they are almost like a form of identity. There's a story behind them. And whenever we look at that object, that story really speaks to us and it reminds us of something really good. And then there are items that we just keep them somewhere in the back of a cupboard or a closet because we don't really know what to do with them. We feel guilty getting rid of them. And so we're keeping them, but we never actually use them. So think in terms of like old china that you may have inherited from a relative. Now, some people love their old china. I have viewers who have left comments when I've done decluttering videos about how they inherited some piece of china or some pieces of old china setting, and they happily use them at Christmas and special occasions or what have you. Things that hold memories, as far as getting rid of those things, it's very personal. Some people just can't do it, and some people can do it. And then there's people like me who I have no problem getting rid of old china or some old thing, but I do have objects in my life that hold incredible memories for me. I have a couple of items that I hold on to because of memories. One of them, I think you might have seen on my channel before, but it is this pink vase. This came from the Czech Republic. My parents had this when they first got married, and it was something that would always be on the coffee table in our apartment in the Czech Republic back in the early 60s. I don't know how this vase came to be in Canada. I'm thinking my grandparents may have sent it over or something like that. But I remember this from the time that I was like maybe 2 years old. And when my parents passed away, it was the one item that I absolutely wanted to have. And every time I put flowers in it, I think of my parents and specifically my mom. So this is not going anywhere. This is a folder of letters that my mom had sent to her best friend. So when my parents escaped to Canada, my mom would send letters, actual letters back in those days, to her best friend. And when her best friend passed away, my mom got these letters back. Her friend's husband gave these letters to my mom because he thought she would enjoy having them. And mom had made this folder, and in it she would put different important things to her. Like, for example, there are things like old Christmas cards that she purchased to send to people. And there's some old photographs and that type of thing, and even some little private journal notes that mom wrote. This really has no value in a sense. I can't use this. I'm not displaying it every day, but I really enjoy having this and I'm keeping it. It's not getting thrown out, and it'll perhaps get passed on to my children and they can choose whether to keep it or not. But I enjoy looking at these letters and deciphering them because mom's writing is difficult to read and it's in Czech, so I have to translate everything. But this is a type of item that really gives me joy and I enjoy keeping. When I look at keeping things that hold a memory, I'm always very selective. I keep things only that I like to bring out and see. I don't like things being stuck in boxes, sitting there for years and years. Those are the things that I don't mind decluttering. The things that I keep are the things that I love, and they truly hold memories with them, and I can look at them on a daily basis and remember. One of the most problematic areas for people to declutter are clothing, especially for women, partly because women tend to keep a lot of things in their closet because they don't want to declutter them because they've spent money on them, or there are things that are too small and they think they're going to fit into them one day, or like with the things that hold memories, clothes also tell a story, and so often people don't want to declutter clothes that have a certain memory associated with them, like their wedding dress or a graduation gown, things that they'll never wear again and they're stuck in the back of the closet. I have zero problems decluttering clothes. If anything, I'm ruthless. If I don't wear it for like, let's say a year, out it goes. I hold no sentimental value with clothing. When it comes to pieces in my closet, what I notice is the things that I never purged are the really basic things. Think white t-shirts, black t-shirts, blue jeans, tan colored ballet flats, those types of things. And when these things wear out on me, it's always a struggle to find the new favorite that will be in my closet for years. Hence, I'm really happy to partner up once again with Quince, who is the sponsor of this video. Quince is your one-stop destination for quality items made out of quality materials. So again, think of organic cotton t-shirts, Mongolian cashmere sweaters, beautiful European linen clothing, and also things for your home, such as European linen sheets. Quince works directly with top-tier manufacturers, so they're cutting out the middleman, which allows them to offer you exceptional quality at very reasonable prices. I would like to show you the items that Quince gifted me. Some of these items were so amazing that I actually, after the fact, ordered some extras because I think they will make a staple part of my closet and will really be integral to just pull some of my outfits together. The first is this lightweight cotton cashmere link stitch dolman sweater. Cotton and cashmere to me is the perfect blend of luxury. I like the relaxed fit on this sweater. It's super comfortable and I love pairing it with my blue jeans. My next couple of items are the lightweight cotton cashmere relaxed sweater tee. I loved this tee so much that I actually ordered two of them, one in black and one in a soft pink color. These tees are super comfy. They're slightly relaxed, but not sloppy looking. And again, cotton and cashmere is such a luxury blend to wear. I think these will become an absolute staple in my wardrobe. I've already worn them with so many of my pieces. My beautiful cotton cashmere sweater tee is perfect with my third item that I ordered, which is a Mongolian cashmere little cardigan. It's slightly shorter and a boxier cut. This to me is my perfect fit because I'm shorter, so I don't really enjoy wearing long sweaters. The high quality materials like the cotton cashmere blend or the Mongolian cashmere is what makes Quince stand out from other brands for me. Final item that I ordered is this amazing black organic cotton tee. It's crew neck. It is kind of a boxier cut and slightly shorter fit. Perfect for me. I think this is going to become my staple tee in my closet. I actually ordered it in a light pink. And I'm also going to order it in a white because I'm in love with this tee. I will leave links to all of the items that I've shown you in the description box below this video. Keep in mind, Quince has 365-day returns and shipping is free, and they now ship to Canada. So head on over to Quince. You can use the links below this video, or you can also scan the QR code on screen. Thank you to Quince for sponsoring my video. For me, the closet is the easiest place to declutter, and I get for some people that is not the case. But as I mentioned before and showing you some of the pieces that I did order from Quince, I like basics. I like very simple, basic items of clothing, and those are the ones that actually get kept and do not get decluttered because they are worn every day. Another category that can sometimes be pretty problematic for people is what I call my slow living category. So these are things that maybe you're keeping in your kitchen, or it could be things like mugs or dishes or books, things that add to that feeling of coziness and slow living and make you feel good when you're using them, and that we tend to buy a lot of things for. So for example, mugs. I love mugs. I absolutely love my mugs. But people will have like hundreds of mugs, and they'll have mugs like everywhere, and they don't match. And most of the time they're not using all the mugs. Sometimes it's really hard to declutter some of these things because you like them. You just kind of enjoy having these items. And for me, I definitely have some favorites in this grouping. Like as an example, I have some favorite mugs. So my very favorite mug that I've had probably, I want to say almost 20 years, is this one here. It was done by a local potter here in Calgary, so it's handmade. I bought it at a little tea shop many years ago, and it's kind of my go-to mug that I use almost every day to drink my coffee. I'm actually quite surprised it's not cracked or anything. The other one is one you might be more familiar with, and that is one I got in Melbourne by a potter from Sydney, or a ceramist from Sydney. She works predominantly in porcelain. I can't remember her name, but I got this mug, and I've been using my two mugs alternately. The other thing that I have in my kitchen that you probably all see is that Mackenzie and Child teapot or tea kettle here. I love that tea kettle. I've had it for quite a while, and it's one of my favorite things, and I use it. I use it to boil water. It's not there for display. It is actually used. Again, the criteria for me here is that if the object is beautiful to me and I love using it, I love holding it. An example is also my design books up in my office, which you often see as a background for my videos. I love those books, and I look at them over and over again to get inspiration. What I do with that category is if I'm not using it, it goes. I don't keep it. No matter how much I love it, I will not keep it. But if I'm actually using it and it truly is providing pleasure on a daily basis, and that item is being held in my hand or being read, then I will keep that item because I'm actually using that item and I'm reading the book. I'm using a specific cookbook on a regular basis. If I'm not using it, out it goes. I have no qualms about getting rid of things that are just sitting there. But wanted to show you that I have some completely mismatched odd things like mugs or teapots that really have nothing to do with anything, but I really enjoy them, and they have survived every declutter. The fact is, there are quite a few categories similar to the ones that I've mentioned. For example, things like artwork, beautiful objects, decorative pieces that you have and that you hold on to, and often they're really hard to declutter, especially artwork that has perhaps been given to you by someone, or that has been inherited, or that you've purchased because you loved it. And my take on that is, like with everything else, if you have it displayed in your home and you look at it and it gives you pleasure, then for sure keep it. Don't throw it out or give it away and then turn around and feel sad because you missed that item and then rush out to buy something to fill the void. I think that many purchases are made because sometimes we over declutter. We get rid of things that perhaps did give us joy, that made us happy, and that provided visual interest, or that reflected who we are as people. And then we miss those items, and so we go out and we buy other things to replace them. The key thing that I believe is important when it comes to decluttering, and decluttering in a big way, is to keep a balanced point of view. So in other words, there are things that you just love and that you just enjoy, and it's okay to keep them. And then there are those things that are cluttering up your life, taking up unnecessary energy and taking up unnecessary space. And even though they might hold some value, be it sentimental or financial, in that you've spent a lot of money on them, but you're not using those things, they are not out on display. Those are the things to declutter. Don't declutter the things that make you happy and that you enjoy holding and touching and feeling and looking at every day. The fact is that we finally have time in our life when we retire, and we have the opportunity to actually enjoy our things. Think of someone who, again, I use knitting a lot because I enjoy knitting, but knitters have stashes. They stash yarn because they have these projects in mind and they purchase yarn for them, and they're not necessarily projects that they're going to do right away. The key to me is balance. Don't just go out there and declutter every skein of yarn you have because all of a sudden you're inundated with yarn. I did do that once. Instead, really realistically look at the projects that you feel you're actually going to do and are going to finish. And that's the yarn you keep. And then the other yarn maybe goes to someone who will actually make something from it. It makes sense that in retirement, we surround ourselves with things that enhance our life, be it books or items that allow us to perform our hobbies, or exercise equipment, or fun little mugs that we can drink our daily coffee and our daily tea from. I have a friend who lives in Guelph, and she said to me one time, or she wrote to me because we correspond, that she now decorates her home for comfort and for being able to do things that make her happy, like knitting and sewing or reading. And she has things placed strategically around the house so that she can pick up projects to do projects, and that she has enough fabric to be able to sew something if there's a pattern that pops up that she enjoys. I think that is the point of view to take when we think about things, and the things that we allow to occupy our spaces and even our minds to a certain extent. If these are things that will allow us to live a fulfilling life, and that will allow us to feel visual pleasure, and that will allow us to feel happy because we're using them to drink our coffee or whatever it is, those are the things worth keeping, and those are things that should be in the no declutter pile. The things that don't really matter, the things that occupy space, you never see them, you never look at them, you never take them out of the cupboard, you're keeping them out of guilt or a sense of obligation. Those are things that occupy space and take up a negative energy, and often make you feel bad because they're hidden somewhere in the cupboard and you're not using them, and therefore you're feeling kind of not great about keeping those things. Those are the things to declutter. Someone else out there would love them. I'm not telling you in any way whatsoever to get rid of things you love. A lot of people will always criticize my decluttering videos saying, I have all this stuff and I'm going to keep it and I don't care. Absolutely. If these things give you pleasure and they make you happy, for sure, don't declutter them. I'm definitely not telling anyone to get rid of their things. But I guess what I'm saying is be a little more critical and more objective about material things, because material things are just things. They are items that someone else may not want when you're gone. And sure, it's easy to let your kids deal with them and, get rid of them. I have things like that where, my kids will have to get rid of them. But I try and keep in mind that a lot of these objects don't matter. Thinking of artwork, one of the things that was really interesting was when we were selling my mom and dad's stuff and getting rid of their things because we just couldn't keep everything they had. Artwork was so hard to give away or to sell. No one wanted their artwork. Everybody has their own tastes, their own kind of visual sensibility, and beautiful pieces that they probably paid a lot of money for ended up getting trashed, which was really unfortunate. But what it taught me was that concept that the things that are valued by us are not necessarily valued by others. And if they're taking up real estate, if they're preventing you from moving forward, if they're preventing you from maybe downsizing to a smaller place, because that would make your life so much easier, then it's worthwhile at least considering decluttering items that aren't giving you joy and focusing and keeping those items that you love and that you're using. To me, that is the true art of decluttering. Just a few things to consider when it comes to decluttering. This video might be a little all over the place, but it's because I am going through this intense decluttering period. And so it's kind of bringing things up and making me think. So this is all I have for this week. Thank you to Quince for sponsoring this video, and I will see you all next week at our regular time. Bye!